Well, we're standing sort of in the middle of what is emerging into a mega solar site because that way is Lichardon Cross, which is the big solar site that straddles the Atlantic Highway between Barnstaple and Bideford. Over to the right here on the other side of the valley is where the Gamerton Moor site is developing, and right here is the proposal for the Bulworthy site, which is going to be 279 acres. So when you put that together with another 100 acres or so of small solar sites in this area, direct area, we are getting up to nearly 700 acres. So we're starting to look like a mega site. I have to say, we've been campaigning against a good Devon farmland being taken for solar sites for a number of years now. We've stood in the way of it, but it's happened anyway, and we've lost about 4,500 acres so far. More recently, of course, the solar sun rush has really taken root. This cluster is being created because everything effectively resolves not about communities, but it's about grid connections, and there is a strong grid connection here at Alverdiscott, which means that lots of investors can pour money into this area to build solar and make a lot of money back. So there are two ways you fight it. One is you have to address each application on its merits and in using planning reasons to say why you think it's wrong. And you have to look at what effect is going to be had, and you have to give a professional reason to the planning committees to refuse in the first instance. If, as so often happens now, that refusal then is met on appeal by an overturn from the planning inspectorate, there's really only one other way you can go at this point, and that is to affect government directly. And the government is only affected directly by weight of numbers, weight of voters, collective organisation.
Can I ask how many of you come here, could you put your hands up if you come here to support the Bulworthy solar farm proposal? Okay.
I used to spend my childhood holidays visiting my great aunt who used to live in a little part of Bulworthy Farm. So coming here this evening has brought it all back to me. I remember the farm very well, and when I first heard about this proposal, it made me very sad.
So, as Penny said, get your objections in, get lots of them in, get them in individually.
I'm just really concerned about the number of solar farms that we have mushrooming in the countryside. And I mean, my big question is, why is our government, or our governments, because it's a worldwide thing, it's governments all over the world, why are they encouraging the use of farmland? So they're prioritising the use of power as opposed to food production.
I do think, you know, it is a particularly bad example of an application which is twisted, dishonest really, because it is about, you know, making profit, but overseas investors and not as build.
I think the worry is that what's happening is that we've got an emperor's new clothes situation where we have people who are concerned quite rightly about climate change and the environment, and they're not really aware that these projects are not going to make the change they think. We've heard statements read out tonight where they clearly equate these projects mean it will save the environment. They don't necessarily know that the projects already in the pipeline and granted will already exceed the targets which have been set for net zero. They, in almost a one-dimensional way, are thinking renewable energy projects equal free energy, free electricity, which it doesn't. It costs a lot of money to produce that, and then you've got to think about the other end about decommissioning.
Obviously, CPRE is the oldest environmental charity. We were founded 99 years ago specifically for things like this. Our job is to find the ways in which communities can object to what they would consider bad planning locally, but also to influence government. And we've had some success. our campaign to move the focus of solar off farmland and onto rooftops with partners, it means that later this year the new building standards will mandate that wherever possible solar panels should be put on new build roofs. Now that is a huge breakthrough. It's something we've all been calling for a long time, and we've just kept up the pressure. Governments seem to actually regard all of this as dispensable. It's just fields, you know, it's just fields. Why don't you hop over there and make a farmer an offer? And they don't seem to understand the consequences of that. We need more food security. We need more food. We have a rising population. And this place creates food, and it does it really well and really efficiently. And if you cover it in inert glass, which is operating at a 10% level of capacity, and then in 40 years' time you work out how you can actually throw that away because it's reached the end of its useful life, and underneath it you find essentially degraded farmland, it doesn't seem to make sense to me at all. So, you know, we're going to end up with way over capacity, and we're going to pay a big price on the way.